seems like nothing they go wrong. Their stories are very flawless. If you want to go for advice, it's that person. If you want positive energy, it's that person. I think sometimes randomly just ask, how are you? There's a question Tessie asked me when I walked in today. She was like, how's your mental health? That was a very strange question. If I wish she asked me the question, honestly, it should be on balance.
When you talk about depression, I think depression is the highest level of sadness.
There are people who are out there and they don't really know what it's like. They experience sadness and they felt, out of place once in a while. But depression is it's a lot more deeper than that. I like to classify it like a mental problem.
Depression is the last stage of sadness. Guess what the last stage of depression is?
Suicide.
Smart. Suicide. Right? And we don't want people taking their own lives. We don't want that. So let's come back on this episode and evaluate why do people spiral down to the last brink, the last point of depression. Damn, guys, it's been a whole, lot of drama and all before we came up on here. But then again, we here, we live, we good. Hope you guys are having fun. I'm your host, the most, Ghostface Frankie, aka Frank. Words like you already know. Today, it's another brand new episode of The Box on Adure Radio. Do not forget, I'm not alone, actually, guys. So you hear very little of my opinions. A lot of times I get to talk more than that. But then today, shishi. Why? Because there's a whole lot of smart people, a whole lot of experienced people, a whole lot of advanced people up on here by my left or my right. I like to call this my Red Cup edition, right? Because then do you get it? So we're moving on with the spirit of the Red Cup, free spirited. This is the episode where we get to talk about something very pertinent, but also, very, 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 very important. And this is depression, right? Don't even get this wrong. Like, a lot of times people get the wrong idea of talks on depression. They feel like, it's something that they have to be sober for. Bro, we have red cups here, man. This means there's no soberness. And also we have Mr. Barango, the life of every goddamn party. I'd like him to start to introduce himself. How you doing, bro?
Very fine, thank you. My name is Mr. Barango, MC, hype man, on air, TV presenter.
Everything joke, no worry.
An entertainer, basically, yeah.
Thanks, bro. And then we also have the lady on the right.
Hello, guys. My name is Ruth. Nice to meet you.
She's playing it cool. Don't worry. By the end of the show, it's not very nice to meet her. And on my left, we have three beautiful people. I like to start with the person closest to the microphone.
Oh, that's me. Dagbani, the industry baby.
Hey, no way, y'all guys. Like, she's like Dagbani.
The industry baby overall is everything in one, baby.
Hey. And behind Dagbani, we have.
Hi, I am Tessie Peters. I'm a geologist and a model, also a chef.
Hey.
So I'm literally there for. I'm your go-to person for anything that you need to.
It's a wicked combination.
Damn, geologist and a chef at the same time.
Yeah.
Damn.
I'm not done.
She's not done. We just have to cope with what she does.
I'm also your host for Bedside Confidential. So.
So y'all look out for Tessie Martins on Bedside Confidential.
Tessie Martins!
But yeah. So and then we have someone who's been very calm. You guys should know that many people who keep their palms like this. When they do like this,
they're plotting.
Bro, the amount of plotting going down, you never know. So what's good, my G? How you doing?
I'm very fine, thank you, brother. Yep. It's
So-
nice to be on your show anyways.
Yeah, nice to have you here as well. How do people relate to you? What do they call you?
They call me Osaz. O-S-A-Z. That's how I spell mine. So you call me Osaz. That's how I like to call it, yes.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Cool. Call him Osaz. When you take his number, you can call him later. You know what I mean? So yeah, we are here, and basically our purpose for converging right now is to first off identify wetin dey sup, wetin dey happen. People, we've come to an age where information is at the fingertips of every individual, right? And that has played both a good role and a bad role to people who have this information. Now we want to talk about one of the bad roles that it has played, right? Now this is depression, right? Information at fingertips leading to depression. So we are capitalizing on depression today, but we're not going to still capitalize on depression, can't they depressed, right? Yeah, sure. The idea for us to be here is to elevate people who have experience of it. And mind you, it's not a compulsory emotion. Depression must, I think it's like an emotion, right? Yeah, not everybody must experience it. So don't have, to viewers out there, obviously, don't have the perception that, oh, this is going to be a series where everyone talks about the saddest part. Hell no, man. But really, we want to enlighten whoever is watching this and whoever is going to watch this in the future, right? To know that people who you think are perfect, right? People who you look up to, people who you appreciate every day also experience something called depression. And on that premise, I'd like to start with stating the fact that depression is an emotion that everybody feels, true or false? True. Now, the level to which you experience it is what matters, right? So I'd like to start from my man on the right, yeah? Mr. David Barango. Mr. Barango, as y'all like to know him. My man Chi. So I want you to tell me first off, right, what is your perception towards the word or the concept of depression? How do you perceive it? How you see it?
Alright, so first of all, I used to have this very I don't know if I'll call it a cake mentality or I just had this mentality that it really didn't exist. Until I spoke to some people, and then I started to understand. I did my own personal research. Yeah. Because personally, I haven't really had maybe a fair share of depression because of circumstances and things that surrounded me growing up. I had people who were depressed, so I kind of learned from their experience because I saw what was happening. I saw how bad it affected them. So growing up, I already had this realization to try and tap myself when I'm getting into that zone. But it doesn't mean that it doesn't happen to other people. Okay. So actually, I think depression is like a range of emotions. It could be very high, it could be very low. You understand? It could be very high, it could be very low. It alters. So that's what I think. That's what I see depression as, something that could really affect you. Okay. If it doesn't affect you, then I don't feel like maybe it could be, like I said, very high or very low. It's not in between. There's no in between depression. You understand? It's either it's very high or it's very low. So that's basically how.
So you're making me understand that you are someone who doesn't really resonate with the concept of depression as a victim, but as an onlooker, right? Exactly. You've been in the corridors, but you've never really been inside the room, right? Exactly. Now, I'm pointing this out because a lot of times, right, people get to lose the truth about this concept of depression. It's not something that, it's not a national cake. It's not like breakfast that everybody must take. But it's something that some people experience more than the others. That's why he talked about the depth, to how deep and how. Now, speaking of depth, right? I'd like Ruth to tell me, how do you feel? Like, what do you think is something people should look out for when they talk about the depth of depression? Like, explain to me your own understanding. We are not professionals. Nobody here. We are just people who have experienced life as youths and adults, and can also translate our lives experiences to people watching, to our viewers, right? So on that note, tell me what you think a higher level of depression can be, and what you also think a low level of depression is, so people know where they fall in.
where the line is.
Yeah, what do you think when someone says, "Oh, this is heavy depression"? What do you think?
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like when your ability to associate starts declining, there's a problem, because it's like there's one thing about being depressed. It affects everything you do. Okay. Basically, your ability to think, your ability to associate, how you relate to your friends, how basically things that you would normally do on a daily basis do not appeal to you anymore.
Yeah.
I feel like if you get to that point where you're just basically sad, I personally do not like to use the word depression, because I feel like it has been abused. I like to use the word big sad.
Okay.
Do you understand? There's this big sad, because it's not just your sad, it's just like it's a feeling that consumes you. Okay. So if you get to a point where nothing appeals to you, even like your natural habits that would normally help you escape, because this is like if you check out our episodes on DRs where we talked about internet addiction, we talked about basically addiction, we talked about a lot of addiction. So when things that you normally would use to escape do no longer appeal to you, then there's a problem. Because if for instance, let's say you're drinking, or let's say the internet makes you happy, but even your phone now no longer
makes you happy.
Yes, no longer makes you happy. It does not appeal to that part of you, that dopamine feeling. There's a problem. There's a problem. I think that then there's a problem.
Like this is no longer works.
Then there's a problem.
I know, right? Because earlier we were talking about people coping. Yeah? And now the problem is that thing you're using to cope is no longer helping you cope again.
Yes.
That means wallahs overcome problem.
Yes, exactly.
But that's something, right? I feel like every individual, like I said before now, everybody has gotten to that point where you need to cope from something. I don't know, do you ever feel like it's something that should be generalized, or it's something that can be generalized? I mean, depression. Do you think everybody has experienced it in some way?
I mean, I'm getting to figure out today that not everybody has experienced it. Depression. I mean, from what Mr. Barango says, he has observed it. He has been at the corridors, right? Yeah. So I don't say a lot of people, but I'd say there are people who are out there and they don't really know what it's like. They experience sadness and they felt, out of place once in a while. But depression is it's a lot more deeper than that. I like to classify it like a mental problem, a common mental problem. So yeah, it has to do with your mental stability anyway. You can experience something and another person goes through that same thing, and to them it's like, man, this is tough, but yeah, let me just shrug it off. And to you, it will take you to a whole dark place, and that's okay. It doesn't mean that it's a big deal. Yeah,
Okay, so by what you're saying, it means the two kinds of, should I say two kinds of people or two kinds of mind states?
No, there are different kinds of people, different kinds of
mind states. When it comes to dealing with depression, there's kind of people who the hard times takes them to a different place that maybe they might find light in, and then some other people where the hard time just takes them on a spiral downwards.
Yeah, but I don't want to put it like that, because if I say, there are people who can take it and there are people who can't, it's like you're giving like
more credit to people who can take it. But it's true.
I feel like your experiences shape you. Trauma shapes you. You can have like a whole fucked up childhood that did something to your mindset and made you mentally strong, and that kind of childhood still made somebody like mentally weak. It doesn't have anything to do. It's your person. It's how you were created. It's like it's like you can be a softie and you can be a hard guy. There ain't nothing wrong with that.
So basically, that is just saying to everyone who's watching, right? That this doesn't really mean you're out of place if you're someone who is what's the word?
Mentally stable.
Susceptible to circumstances that make you depressed. It's not really a bad thing. It just means that's who you are. Right? So I feel like Tessie Martin, I'm sorry, why do I keep saying Tessie Martin? Tessie Peters.
She's probably going to marry Martin, who knows?
I wanted to add to what she said before you asked her the question.
Yeah.
I feel like life happens to everybody.
True.
So I don't think there's anybody that's been on this earth and then you wake up and you don't face problems, and then you don't face struggle.
Especially being Nigerian. Why they do when they do life happens? Life happens.
Thank
I mean,
But being Nigerian is a
exactly.
different life,
It's
bro.
just like the hit song that Wonder Banton has right now.
Problem, you know they finish.
You understand? So
Shout to my baby.
it happens to everybody.
Try
So
to
it just
enjoy.
depends. Like she was trying to say, it depends on how you accept it. Some people have been facing challenges from
Birth.
you know, and then they're like, okay, they are immune to this, they are used to it. And then some people, they have it rosy from small, and then, you know, like I said, life happens. Something just happens in the family, and then it's like you're trying to struggle to know how to cope. You understand? Maybe the next man already knows how to cope in this situation because it's happened to him before. It's happened to him from small. But you from small, you didn't go through such, you know, such.
You remember those moments? I don't know if you remember, but I don't know our experiences, but remember when in secondary school, I don't know the secondary schools you guys attended, but you know those schools where you don't pay school fees, you go pursue, you go
Exactly.
outside. Now, when you go outside, you come meet people like you.
You understand?
When nobody don't pay school fees, all I go just go play ball the whole day. Now, the happiness that those defaulters in quotes will generate to attract the people who are not defaulters to come and enjoy with you people. They will leave class and come and stay outside, right? So I feel like that's typically, and now in that situation where, remember that while you're playing ball with your guys, while you're defaulting for paying fees, right? I mean, it's supposed to depress you. It's supposed to, right? But you have probably been used mental construct again. You probably have been used to that process from other scenarios that has made you now. But then there's probably someone that has been so used to paying their fees on time and all that is experiencing being sent out of school for the first time. So you now see the girl or the guy somewhere feeling so,
you know. And you guys have been used to it.
People there don't go section.
Exactly.
Funny enough is they want it to happen the next day.
Yeah.
So now, reason why I'm bringing.
Let me tell you one funny thing.
Yeah.
It happens to you to the point where you paid your school fees and then they're like, who hasn't paid school fees? And
And you don't
The reason why I'm bringing this right before we go on a quick commercial break is to point out the fact that your mentality, right? So, bro, have you ever been in that position where you were the one with the mindset that whatever situation you're facing right now is not really the end? And how did you proceed on that thought? Maybe you're being in a bad place where you're facing something and then your only hope out is the thought process that you embody. Okay. Do you think, oh crap, this is the end of it, or oh crap, I can't deal with this, I have to, or you'll be like, nah. How did you
Okay, personally, life is how you take things.
Exactly.
It's what you tell yourself, what you feed yourself with. So if you feed yourself with negativity, trust me, it will only get worse, So at a point when maybe you're feeling sad, because when you talk about depression, I think depression is the highest level of sadness.
Okay. True.
That is the high, because when I can be sad now, just okay, but when it becomes consistent, that's when it's depression.
Yeah.
So you should understand that, because we're talking about levels here. To me, it's sadness and depression. Depression is the highest level of sadness.
Yeah.
Okay, I can hit you now. You get angry, or you get sad. But when it becomes consistent, then you know that okay, this is no longer just sadness. It's not a way of life. So for a way to cope with such, let's say an event whereby you can have a child, or as a parent you shout at this child will laugh about it the next 20 minutes. The other child will go and start crying and thinking about it. Everyone is different.
True.
So you must know how to cope with your own events. It could be just speaking with someone. Some people now, okay, you are going through stress, keep it all to yourself. But sometimes whereby you just open up, talk to someone about it, let it out, let it flow, express it.
That's where we'll draw this curtain for this brief break, and when we return we'll talk about opening up, because I feel like that's where it basically boils down to the decision that you make as whoever experiences. So let's just go on a quick break. Osas, thank you very much for that contribution. Thank you guys for juicing us up to this point where we catch our breaths and we come back and we talk about a solution. Like, what do you think can be something that we can lean towards as a solution, because it's happening and it's real. As much as you see people having malaria and typhoid, you also have people
having depression.
And then here's the sad part. Like you said, depression is the last stage of sadness. Guess what the last stage of depression is?
Suicide.
Smart. Suicide. Right? And we don't want people taking their own lives. We don't want that. So let's come back on this episode and evaluate why do people spiral down to the last brink, the last point of depression. Because first off, like she said, everybody experiences depression in different levels. That means we all know depression, but we all do not know suicide. If not, we're not there. Right? So the people who get to the point where they know suicide, what happens, what goes wrong, what is the reason for that? So guys, do not forget, this is still The Box and I am still Frank Words. I have Ruth Black Cabin, I have Mr. Barango, I have Mr. Osaz, I have Daigbani, Dibani, and then of course there's Tessie, Peters, not Peters. So we'll be back briefly after a short commercial break, and then we'll talk about the solutions, at least most probable solutions from real people. Nobody here is an expert, so real life. We'll talk. Let's go. Short break. Beautiful, mighty point. Right now, I'll pitch on that and move on to where we talk about how people, the recipients, the listeners, how they respond to people who come with them with this kind of information. Because over the weekend, I lost somebody close to me, right, to suicide, right, a young fellow, right, and then I felt, down. I'm not very social media savvy, but I was over the weekend because I had to put out some stuff. So when I posted it, some people started to make jokes about it because I was writing things about depression, and they started to make jokes about it. People who were obviously not depressed started to say I'm depressed. People who just wanted to catch cruise started to write. So this is what I want us to talk about and strongly flog the wrong perception to the concept of depression, right? How people have the wrong idea. A lot of Nigerians think depression is a joke. Like when you tell somebody you're depressed, person wants to laugh like for some good 15 minutes. And now Nigerians, we are so good at sadness, or how should I explain, hardship contest. You tell the person I never pay house rent. The person will then say, you never pay for 1 year. Me, I never pay for 4 years. You want to tell your own problem, we pass your own. I don't know who gave us the idea that if you tell someone that you're experiencing worse pain than the person, it will make the person feel better, right? But then again, I guess it's just the process where we are from, what we know, which is why this podcast, having all these intellectual giants, these geniuses on real life issues, we don't really have to have any particular certificate to make us experience it, right? So people who listen or who watch this will be able to understand that. So if someone commits suicide, is the person's fault to an extent, but it's also the fault of the people in the immediate environment who probably did not create an enabling environment for the person to speak up. Now, so what I want us to discuss is how are people going to change their perspective on issues like suicide and depression? How do you become more, accommodating to someone who comes to you, either digitally? It's sometimes the person don't even come to you. Person just, we are all on social media. You see people post up random things on their status. The person might just, so this guy who took his life, his last post on his WhatsApp status, for people who had him on WhatsApp status, said he wrote, "It was fun while being here. Take care." put 2 peace sign and then drank sniper. I'm not even whining you.
I saw it.
For real. So people who saw that and probably thought it was a joke, I wouldn't. If I had him on my snap, I wouldn't have thought it was a joke.
Yeah.
Because
he posted it on Snapchat.
On his WhatsApp status.
I saw it.
People were now reposting it. Yeah. So the point is, when you hear or see people who put out this warning signs, that's exactly the word, warning signs, because sometimes it's beyond them. How do you as the receptor accept it? That's what we are talking about, because we have agreed that a lot of people think it's a joke. In our immediate environment, people want to, and then people, most times, it's funny enough, even these people who think it's a joke are even actually depressed too. They are just very ignorant to how they want to go about it, so they start to put up the false ego, false strength, and feel like you where they go, they complain about depression. You know, so that's why I want us to address this. How can we create a more enabling environment for people to speak up? Because pain and depression are 2 things we cannot do without. So we have to create a platform where people can alleviate this pain and depression, which is talking to the next person. So you being the next person, how can you be more receptive?
Okay, so first of all, let's start from the person who's experiencing the depression. It is one thing to experience depression, it is another thing to actually open your mouth and talk. Because the truth is, if you're depressed and you don't tell the next person about it, everyone knows how to wear a mask, right? Everyone knows how to. The only time you take off your mask is when you wear an actual mask. That way, wearing the actual mask allows you drop the mask that you put on every other day, which is your face. So you're walking on the road and you have a smile on.
Your real face is the real mask.
Nobody knows that you're sad. Nobody knows that you're depressed. There's no way I'm going to be able to help you or talk to you or talk you out of what you're dealing with if I don't know that you're depressed. So the first step is communicating. Now, on the other person's end, it is not your job to tell the person, oh, don't worry, if I put my problem on the table and you put yours, you go collect your own because my own person. It's not your job.
It's not a competition.
At all, it's not a competition. You're in no form doing a marathon. The first thing you need to do is ask too. That's another thing. That's where a lot of people get it wrong. When someone comes to you with problems concerning depression, you should not jump straight to advice. Some people don't need your advice. The first question you should ask, what would you like? Do you want to go out for drinks? Do you want a hug? What do you want? Just tell me what you want. Let's start from there. Do you want to vent and let me just listen?
Yes.
Do you want me to
give
you an advice? What do you first know what the person wants?
As a
then
solution.
You start from there as a solution. That's the place that you start from.
Sorry to cut you, but if someone knows the solution to their problem, they come to you.
No. It's not a solution.
You don't know, problem. But you're asking them.
It's not a solution.
It's a likely solution. Something they feel like.
It's a first step.
Like right now, what do you want? Do you want to vent?
It's not like the person depressed does not know that he has to go outside to feel better.
But you cannot take. That's the thing about depression.
Funny enough,
that's the thing about depression. You probably know what you can do to get better, but you don't have the ability to do.
You need that extra.
That's funny. You can go online and actually Google solutions to depression. But the thing about being depressed is you do not have the ability to do anything else. It cripples you from mentally, physically. You're literally just there. You know, say this alcohol will probably make you feel better, but you don't feel like drinking it. You know, your phone, internet is going to make you feel better, but you don't feel like taking it. In fact, even when you consume it, it's not working. That's the thing about depression. It cripples everything, especially mentally. You do not have the ability to do the things that make you feel better.
That's somebody else comes
That's
in.
one thing about it.
Somebody else comes in.
So let's just say that's one, right? Basically, we've drifted to the signs of depression. When you feel the inability to do something. So what else? Cause like I mentioned, bro, in this idea of depression is as real as typhoid and malaria. Therefore, in every 5 persons, like 3 people
are depressed.
Like then maybe 1.5 person or 2 people they suicidal. 1.5, you see that half person just wait for lights to go. I'm not even playing with you. Once light goes, and that TV that they were using to cope at that moment is gone, then you now have 3 people that are ready to be suicidal. So my point now is, what are the signs of depression? Like you mentioned, one, when you're not indulged in things that you usually want to do. What else? Because people really are experiencing this. The purpose of us having this conversation is for real life impacts, right? So what do you think are the other signs of depression that people, because like we said, people don't even know that
there's experiencing this. Fatigue. There's loss of appetite.
Oh yeah?
Yes,
Girl, speak.
There's that. There's, like she said, showing zero interest in the things that you very
so
interested in.
Sure.
Right? Disconnection. You would know that sometimes you know that you're depressed when you're disconnected. You're in conversations with your friends and you just zone out.
Zone out into deep thought of something that is plaguing your mind.
And doesn't even relate to what is happening.
And every time they call your attention, you snap back. But then in just a few seconds
you're back there.
These are signs that I know that some people would experience these things and they would not think that it's depression, but you have to catch yourself. Some people eat to cope.
Coping with stress eaters.
Stress eaters.
There are people that will just sit down.
The chow.
Like say, you get as they do me.
We don't.
And there are people who actually lose appetite when they are depressed. I think that one works for me too. When I'm going through the big side, there's this inability to eat. I like to eat. That's like facts. I like to eat.
I saw.
But if I'm going through a phase, there's this, I would rather starve than get up and go and look for food.
It's not
I am very hungry.
Yes.
I'm very hungry, but I'm not interested in going to look for food. And even when you put food on my table, I will not eat as I would normally eat. Do you understand? That's when I know that there's something wrong. And that's why it's mostly mental. Do you understand? It's mostly mental.
And the mental is very, very, very powerful.
Your mind controls everything. Your mind is like it's like the power box. Basically.
So statistically, right? This is based on numbers. I feel like there are more men prone to depression than females.
I agree.
Do you agree?
Yes.
Do you agree?
I honestly don't know.
You don't know? Okay, so now this is why I'm saying this, right? I feel like as men, now you can allow me point them, right? And not point out to me that I've but as men, right? We are in a society where it's absurd for a man to open up, even though his fellow man. Now why we get the local palace waiting man do man. When I hear that thing, it busts my brain. What sort of axiom is that? Waiting man do man. But it's real, right? Because a lot of times mentally, like we have already agreed, people are a product of their process. So you find out that men become less outspoken to their fellow men about some things that they face, right?
Yeah, they expect you to be strong.
That
APOB concept, that strong mind, is it real?
I feel like this men.
Oh my God.
Sorry to cut you, but I feel like this men, you're expecting men to be strong. Men don't come out to each other typey. It's so medieval. Like the guys I know of this age, I don't know. I'm talking about like. I don't want to say this Gen Z thing is so dead, but guys, like honestly, like I don't feel this Gen Z vibe, but I'm talking.
But they exist, so we have to also encompass them.
Guys
they are mostly going to watch this.
They are so emotional, like they are so emotional. You see, guys like two guys, they are so close to each other, and I'm talking from experience, and they tell each other, I think they're high or something, probably on drugs, money, I don't know, but you see them and they are telling each other things, guys, you see them in the club, and they are holding each other, and they are telling each other things, they are so deep with themselves. I'm like, I'm not sure if these guys are having personal issues mentally, they don't fit them, and some guys think they worry me, you see. You get like they'll be able to they are able to be vulnerable with themselves these days, and like I admire that. So
even with that, there are still a lot of men who think that it's absurd to open up. Exactly. There are men that you will talk to, and then they will tell you, don't worry, I can handle my problem.
I personally don't get why.
No, it's the society.
That's why
I know everybody is going to say society, but that's the thing, yeah. You see women breaking societal norms. Why aren't men breaking
women
societal norms?
There are still society. You see women that have kept women in chokehold.
I promise you. I mean, come on, let's be honest. Women are actually out here breaking societal norms. This is, you see, women. I don't want to go into feminism because I don't really conform to feminism. Yes, but you see, women actually coming out and doing things that naturally society has conformed us not to do. Why aren't men doing these things? Because at the end of the day, men will come out and tell you, I cannot speak out. Society has branded me to not speak out. Because society has told me, Akpobi, you need to be tight up. You cannot, as a man, you should not be vulnerable. Why are you not? I mean, at the end of the day, if you have somebody that you can't be vulnerable to, what is stopping you? Society. Society is just, I mean, society affects all of us. Society affects us in different ways. You are breaking the norm in terms of fashion, in terms of music, in terms of how you express yourself physically. Why are you not expressing yourself emotionally? Why are you not breaking the societal norms emotionally? And at the end of the day, they'll come and tell you, society says I should be a man. But you they break other aspects of societal norms.
Here's one thing that
you understand? What is your problem with breaking it emotionally?
No, you go first.
Here's one thing that I think that we should not ever rule out. It is not about speaking up. It is about speaking to the right people.
To the right people.
Exactly. That's what I'm about to say. Because
so as much as society plays its role, and then there are people. There's one child born in every generation that will not speak up about their problem. Right? So society plays its role quite alright, but even as society is playing its role, you'd eventually meet that one person that you're able to that you feel like you're comfortable.
You can talk to.
But the problem is not you. The problem is the person that you're talking to. Is the person open enough to accept your vulnerability?
I mean, if you're going to say this person is the right person, when you don't already tag this person as the right person, it means this person is acceptable to whatever you're giving them. Like you, Tessie, let me put you as the right person. You've already said that you're open to taking people's, you're okay with being that friend that takes everybody's emotion, negative, whatever, even if it's negative, and you give them off your positive energy. So for instance, let's say Frank has you. What is stopping Frank from talking to you? You're the right person in all ramification of what right person is. You're ready to take it in. What is stopping Frank from talking to you?
Can I say something?
At this point, it's no longer you, it's him. Why is he not ready?
Can I say something?
Yeah.
So the reason why a person would see you as the right person is you guys have every other conversation and the vibes are great. That's why they can see you as the right person.
Oh no, I don't agree with that.
No, please let me finish first. You guys have every other conversation, the vibes are great, your attention span is massive. But when it comes to this one topic, you have short attention span.
That does not make you the right person.
No. See,
because
let me tell you something. It's the same way you look at someone.
That does not make you the right. See, I think people are not understanding what being. I think people don't know what it means to be the right person in all ramification. If I come and say you're the right person in all ramification, it means you have checked every box.
Let me tell you something.
That's what you are not getting. You have checked every box emotionally, sense of humor. If it comes to being vulnerable, you're there. You are the right person. You're not just any person. You are the right person.
You said you started the conversation talking about how women have come out of breaking emotional societal norms. Personally, I'm not speaking for everybody. I'm not speaking for every man. I'm not trying to be what's the word? I'm not trying to shade the females or something. It's not a gender
thing.
Personally, I feel like women are emotionally stronger than men.
True.
Men, for me, men are logic in their thinking. Because we have, most of us, not all of us, like she rightfully said, Gen Z. I mean, I'm a millennial, so growing up, like I said, bro, I saw a lot of things happen. I didn't see my uncles cry.
Never.
I didn't see my father.
Even when you cry, the mother you say,
you be man, you cry. You know what happened? You know what? Instead, my father lost his job at a particular time. I knew things were rough. You know what? Instead, it happened that my father and my mom would always fight. They would always fight. My father would never, it was later that I understood what was going through. Like, the man didn't have, he couldn't talk because it messed him up. He couldn't pay my school fees at the point. You understand? He was at that point where, and them, at that point, they're like, if you can't provide, they'll tell you, if a man cannot provide,
there's something wrong.
There's this video of is it Chris Tucker? He was saying something that men, they only get the value of what they can provide.
Yeah.
Of what they bring.
You are what you can provide. Yes.
You are what you can provide.
Yeah.
A woman can be loved,
unconditionally.
Do you understand?
And children.
As a man, so you already have that mentality that, bro, I have to provide.
Yes, you must bring something to the table.
I have to bring something to the table. Yeah. And now I don't have that emotional strength to now think that, yo, man,
I can be something without providing.
I can be something without providing. I can just be a fine boy, a fresh boy, and just come and sit down, and people appreciate me for what I am. No. Do you understand? I have the logic thinking that, bro, fucking get up. Go and get this money.
I know, right?
Don't come and tell me now, because it's just like she was saying. I don't know who was saying that, but man, what did man do, man? Exactly. You understand? Because this same problem, if I have a problem and I come and tell my man, but it's changing these days. The narrative is changing. Millennials are adapting. We're learning from this Gen Z. Like I said, personally, I don't know about every other person, but I like to learn from the younger ones, because I know that when you're younger, the potentials, everything is there. You understand? I have understood that from the past generation. Because some of them refuse to listen to the younger ones. They lost value. So I've known that, I have to look at what these youngins are doing. You understand? To stay relevant. So that's what is changing. It's changing now, but before it wasn't like that. Because you meet your man, you're telling him, bro, boy, CRCB. You can just be like, my bro, no worry. No. Let me tell you the answer. I'm waiting make man be man.
To be a man is not this job. Oh my God.
They'll tell you, what if a lady comes and tells my guy that same thing, he will make
sure that to cry
on. Solution binder.
What do you do? You understand? Me no go ask me what to know, because he already logically
expects you to cope.
You're a man.
Cope with it.
Man. Why they cry for me? Do you understand? So that's why I feel like it's changing now, but it still boils down
but
to
it's
society.
Still that situation.
You understand? That situation where most of us grew up and.
But I mean, like, we keep saying society. We're actually ruling out the fact that society is every single one of us.
Yeah,
I like you.
Because I feel like you people, when people say society, it feels like this
is an external body.
No, not at all.
Don't see when you
make it seem like it's an external body.
About society happens. It feels like there's an external body, one very big giant standing somewhere.
That's called society.
That's called society.
Bless you. You know.
The society is actually us. You understand?
Exactly. You come to me as your guy and you tell me that this is how you're feeling, and I'm telling you, be a man about it. I am the society.
Really
I am the problem. And the reason why it's seemingly hard for you
I beg to differ.
But you know what I'm telling you?
I don't think people are society entirely.
The thing is, you know why I'm telling you.
I'm sorry. You say people are not society. Now take away the people. What do you have?
You have a system.
No.
The system is
the system.
Oh my God.
The system.
The system is
That's what we're saying. If you take away every single person, it's just going to be earth and animals.
So my question, why I had to slightly disagree was because I was going to ask, right? Since we are talking about the society now, in plain terms, what are the exact causes? Now, when you talk about the causes of society, you now talk about environment. You can talk about environmental factors, right? Environmental factors is like one of the causes for depression. Now, environmental factors, you cannot have an environment without people, but you can have an environment and still have people. Like, people can function, right, if you go somewhere, only that's like the environment where you find yourself at the moment. But you can go out of that place and still see people doing other things. So environment is environment, right? Now, what you find yourself around, or what happens around you can be one of the causes for for depression, to make or break you. So what are these things that people face in real time? Guy, Nigeria is hard. Fuck it. I feel like I want the president to be here to say. See, Nigeria is hard. This doesn't mean that as Nigerians we should cling towards that idea of Nigeria is hard. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying in real time reality, right? It's not as easy as it is outside. Facts. Now this hardship, because even if you Google it, bro, if you Google it, they must tell you that the environment you find yourself will determine, kind of mindset for depression. Bro, we are in a very what they call bottom barrel. Now we are with the no go wine ourselves.
Taking it from where you started.
That's the word.
It's everywhere for Nigeria are trenches.
Trenches, bro.
Taking it from where I totally agree with you that more percentage of men are depressed because of the need to bring something
to the table.
We might just be here and the ladies sometimes don't even want anything from you.
Bro.
Do you understand? Sometimes they don't want you to even, like, you meet a girl that is okay, she's chill, she's good.
Well
she just wants your attention. She just wants you around, but now at the back of your mind,
what can I bring to the table?
And there's this thing I've noticed about men. There's this thing I've noticed about men. When men cannot provide for you, they mentally withdraw.
Yes. You
don't even need their money at that point. I just need you to be around me. I need your presence. I need your attention. But when men cannot provide, they will mentally withdraw from you.
And that takes us back to where I was saying that it's changing. You understand? Because, like I said, in our generation.
But sorry to say, are we trying to break this down to the generation? To me, it's basically awareness.
Okay.
Yes, because when you see people you love or you have loved and they end up dying, it created this awareness that, okay, depression is actually real. So people became more aware.
But you know why I'm putting it to the generation? Because some 20 years ago, I don't think you see men, like the way men open up now, I don't think it was like that. Because growing up, like I said, I never really. It's even from even my teachers in school. Even my teachers in school will flog you and tell you should keep. Are you not a man? That question.
From even teachers, your mates, bro, your peers. Even you guys learn how to test 20 strokes for back.
You understand? So it's. But right now. It's changed. That's what I'm saying right now. It's changing. It's still that awareness. We're getting more aware that, okay, you can be vulnerable. You can talk to somebody and it doesn't make you less of a man. You understand? But it's stages. It's stages. Like people who already have that mindset that, it's a lot, bro. It's a lot. Like I said, I saw firsthand my father before he died. So my father was going through a lot, but he didn't have anybody to tell. It was later when I got to a stage and I'm like, man, Popsy was going through a lot of shit. And he had brothers. He had people who had money. He had people he could actually reach out to. Like, how you date down now? Like, you have a few men that you will call, bro, how far? Are you on 0? What's up? And they not go laugh you. It won't be a mockery.
Which brings you understand? Back to the right person.
What's the level? How far?
That is why
you understand.
It's very necessary to surround yourself
with the right people.
And you know who to go to. Exactly. Sorry, because now I might come to you for financial assistance. That is your duty in my life. But when it comes to emotional stuff,
you don't have the
Exactly. Know who to go to. Particular problem. Because I may not know how to talk emotional stuff with you. So I am the wrong person. But if you have money issues, I might just
But you do know that the purpose for this is, right, to you guys listening, the idea of this talk is to point out how we can help anybody we know in that point, right? First off, being the right person mustn't even necessarily mean that you must be the guy to solve the problem. Right? But you can just be the guy. I don't get money. You come meet me, say, make I show you love. I'll tell you, say,
I don't get.
No, I feel not tell you, I will not tell you, say, you get David number.
Real life.
You get my number. I'll hold on for you. Call this guy.
Real life.
We will solve that problem.
This is what.
But imagine now, instead of me to tell you, you get David number as a solution, I begin tell you say, you no go get sales. So this country wey hard like this, we don dey face depression. Now you want go dey. You want kill yourself? Well, you kill yourself now. Tomorrow morning I wake up, person don kill himself. I come realize say it's not even really about those fake talks. It's real talk. Real talk. If someone comes to you, listeners, guys, if someone comes to you or you see somebody, there's nothing wrong in, like, although you know that you mentioned people who use their own hand to repel people who can solve their problems by being rude unnecessarily, right? Maybe you have a problem or you look like you have a problem and someone tries to talk to you, and then instead of speaking up or you become rude, right? Those ones are out of the question. Let them do themselves. But we're talking about people who really want solutions, right? There are people out there who are depressed. They want solutions genuinely, right? And then they talk to people. Now this is where we talk to the viewers. People who now who they choose to speak to are the wrong people, which is why everybody here had capitalized on speaking to the right person. So I believe that the right person is watching, and maybe the wrong person is as well. But we want everybody to be the right person. So you don't speak to people just because you feel like they can give you immediate solution. First off, if you're going through depression, you're speaking up. You're not speaking up. There's a saying, right? Someone who speaks up solves half his problem. And that's when they say if 10% bring them half. However, mentality is first. Like, I know people who are so free-spirited and outspoken to the point where on our feed they talk one thing. In between that one thing conversation, they don't tell you like 6 of their problems. Now, those problems may not even be related to what you guys are talking about, but it depends on you now as the listener and depends on you as the viewer to choose how do you handle this information. How do you handle this information? Do you just treat them flippantly, casually, like they don't really matter, or you look at them because like now we're talking about a woke society where people are more conscious, people are more aware. Right now I feel like since this, so I've had, like I said earlier, experienced losing someone to suicide. Now I feel like if someone talks to me about that thing, I'll respond differently. I'll be more detailed, right? But we don't want that kind of situation. We want people to know that right there, even if it's someone who you don't see so much potential in, person will not even be your power, but the person just for some reason out of the box wants to speak to you, and you may not be in that position to solve the problem, but just find out what the problem is. Sometimes person just really needed to speak to somebody. I've had times where I talk to people and then maybe you're going through a difficult time, then they ask you what do you want, and I'm like, I really don't want anything. I don't want your money. I don't want just for the fact that you even listen to me, I feel even they talk to you, they think of the solution, right? So now this is a closing note before you close, let me throw in something, because Mina and I were talking behind. Your discussion around depression is all centered around financial. There are young men who are chasing women, and that woman is not agreeing. Rejection. Heartbreak.
Heartbreak.
Last.
No. Heartbreak is not that
hard.
It's not even heartbreak. It's not heartbreak. Rejection. It's rejection.
So when somebody tells you they are depressed and you ask them what happened, and tell maybe my mother did not talk to me today, don't laugh about it.
Or my babe, no even say mother. If you talk to a guy, if he tell you say him and his babe get problems, sorry to cut you now. Let's be real. This is why we're out here alive. It can be your girlfriend. Because I really don't even like to bring up this person as a case study. But I somehow heard that in the story the person had a breakup with his significant other. Right? You might let me not say casual me, but a regular person might want to say, you never even reach 25, you don't get heartbreak, make you kill, you don't get sense, But that's the real situation that he probably faced. Maybe his girlfriend broke up with him and he could not endure that pain. And the police is actually looking for the girl. Not because she's a suspect to who killed him, but to ask how far, what went on with you guys. Because people have a different emotional strength. So I really like what you just said. Thank you very much, Mina, and also Boss Pauline, for bringing that into what we are talking about now. The emotional strength of individuals, heartbreak, relationships, and all this in bros.
heartbreak no be
More than wait, yeah, you like say Dabani was
you guys remember that year that I was in a relationship? Like 3 years till now, I never date to since that guy.
So I'm really happy that we're talking about this because I think the main basis of this is to let people know that depression is real. It's just like you said, it's like typhoid and it's like malaria. Like, bro, you could tell if you tell some the way we've accepted that malaria is real, and you tell somebody, oh, I'm sick, I get malaria, and the person tells you, yo, have you taken something? You understand? Have you treated malaria? Have you called? It's not the same way people when you tell someone that you're depressed. The person's like, so we all have to be aware, just like you said. We all have to be the right person to talk to. Everybody has to know that, okay, this, like I said in the beginning of my speech, I felt like, because I really had not had
experience,
personal, I'd not been in that dark space. I felt like, not just shalaye. But later, I found out that, because, the suicidal rate, true, not really saying that depression is, actually the whole reason of suicide, but, most of this suicide that happened, when you hear the story, oh, this guy was depressed. He was giving signs. This person is posted. It's just like when I saw that thing, people reposted it. The person that reposted it on my status, I was like, yo, when I saw it, like, so that means this guy actually posted that it was fun while he was here.
Okay, but can I come in here? The story about a shepherd who used to come out and dress like wolf. So my point
Crying
is,
wolf,
my point is, you should also be careful with this so-called catching crew.
Exactly.
Because if I know you to be
always playing
about stuff,
people do not take you seriously.
Throwing money.
And also, aside that, there are also people who are very depressed, but outside they also look like they are catching cruise, they are fine. So they are going about their daily. In as much as we say that depression makes you not associate with your normal activities, there are some people who still go about their normal activities, but they are clinically depressed. After the whole facade they put up, where you say your normal face is like a mask. After the whole facade, they come out, they're happy, they're posting normally. In fact, they are the ones giving you advice. But inside, they are dying. They are dying, and they are just wishing they can talk to somebody. But they are used to being the strong person for everybody else. They are used to.
Ego is what does them.
Pride. Sometimes they're embarrassed.
Not just embarrassment is a thing, but I also feel like pride, because I've met somebody who it's just ego and pride that's making this person not talk. It's because I just get off being that person. I just don't feel like I see a need to talk to people about what I'm going through. But you're going through a lot. Do you understand? And you see, like, I personally would have to, somebody would come into your life and have to start breaking down walls upon walls to get to your real person, to get to what you're going through. There's somebody there who's willing to listen. But you know that this person is willing. This person has given you every ramification that I am the person you can talk to. They are there. They are willingly offering themselves to listen. But your pride is not letting you talk. Do you understand? So I feel like, in as much as we can say, okay, this person feel no they na cruise, na shalaye. There's some people that it's not shalaye, just their normal life. In fact, that is just their coping mechanism. They put it out there like they're fine, but they are dying. Do you understand? So it brings us, like, this is one of the things I wanted to say in closing. Like, I feel like we should check on our strong friends. In quotes, our strong friends. That person that feels like nothing they go wrong. They don't need that person. Exactly. That person that seems like nothing they go wrong. Their stories are very lit. If you want to go for advice, it's that person. If you want positive energy, it's that person. I think sometimes randomly just ask, how are you? There's a question Tessie asked me when I walked in today. She was like, how's your mental health? That was a very strange question. If I wish she asked me the question, honestly, it should be unbalanced. Do you understand? Because she said that people are used to asking, how are you? And I will normally say, I'm fine. Do you understand? But when she asked me, how was your mental health? I paused for a second and I thought about it. And I actually realized that Throughout this year, this is like the 7th month in the year. Nobody has ever asked me that question. What is going on with your mental health? People just ask you how you did. I cannot decide to tell you that I'm fine or not, depending on the person that I'm talking to. Do you understand? Even sometimes the person I know that I can talk to, I'll still tell you that I'm fine, because at that point I don't feel like going into details. Do you understand? But if someone comes and asks you how is your mental health, that will make you think. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but if someone comes and meets you like, yo, how is your mental health? It just takes you back. Like, I feel like you're going to pause and actually think about it.
I think we should.
I think that we should normalize that question.
So here's something I also want us to actually realize, right? There's some people who they don't even give you the signs. Your instinct will tell you to run.
Just ask.
Then there are some other people that you know. See, I'm not even whining you. There are some people that you know the kind of things they faced. Like, you know that now I'm creating a divide. There are people you don't know what's going on. You instinctively want to. That's because you probably are abiding or accepting what we are talking about here, being the approachable person or being the person to approach, right? Now, there's some other times that people who you know, like, you don't even need them to come to you. You know it's in their own chest. You know, right? And these people are still standing firm, looking at you like nothing is wrong.
Going on,
Don't wait for them to give you red flag. You probably, their strength might be their weakness. They might be coping with listening to other people. Like, they feel like, okay, I'm so sad, I'm so pained that the only way I can cope is that listen to other people's pain, other people's sadness, and then that's what they want to do. Like, you see them hyped up. They'll solve your problem for you, bro.
They get off,
that's the coping
mechanism for them. That person is depressed. That person is depressed.
You are sad. I can understand it that you're sad and you're absorbing other people's sadness. You're not depressed. Did you understand what depression is? From sadness to depression.
The end of it.
After depression, we said the next thing was
suicide.
You cannot be that person. You can't function. No matter how rich you are, you can't function at all.
It cuts you off.
I feel like
it's just like what you said.
Depression. Nobody spoke about. Okay, you guys have.
No.
Nobody spoke about how depression makes you lose your friends and your hoes.
Your friends and your hoes.
Your friends and your hoes. Like, if your friends, like, yes, you communicate. You mentioned something about being able to communicate, but sometimes depression closes you off. Just like Mrs. Paula said, you're not able to, like, tell people how you feel. You're trying to, like, it's like your mouth is sealed. You want to talk, but like, you can't.
It's just heavy.
Okay, this is me now. I'm like, you
can't.
You're
screaming on the
inside, but you can't let it out. So you just, and then you lose contact. You don't want to be outside. You're home days and days and days and days, and before you know, come on now, normal, you really ball out with your friends weekend. Baby girl, come out. You don't want to come out. You're giving excuses. You're giving attitude, and the attitude is not because you have issues with them, but they don't get it, and you don't. You know, and then before you know, they're like, oh, she's giving attitude, she's feeling too big, and before you know, they don't want to see you anymore. At that time, they feel like you're just being cocky and isolated. Likewise, your hoes. I always that host thing I saw it from a meme or whatever. It was funny.
But the hoes are important.
Yeah, very important, because your hoes are there. They're important aspect of your life. And then you don't want to see them as well. Before you know, you're lonely. You don't have friends. You don't have hoes and all of that. And then one other thing I want to address, very important. One other thing I'd like to address is like how you receive those people who come to you. So there are some people who show signs of depression and that you can't tell. So you have to be aware. You have to be emotionally intelligent, and you have to be emotionally intelligent. So like when they come to you with certain things, you don't just brush it off. You know how to actually you know how to actually take it in and create that safe space for them and let them open up. Their friends, people these days have friends for everything. I have a friend that, like, she has an outspoken friend. They go out, they drink, they party, everything is good. They stay together, they smoke a blunt and all of that. But when she's down, and they stay together, they literally live together. But when she's down, she comes to my house, and then she's there, and she, you know why? Not because I'm the best friend though, that would listen to you or would advise you, because hell, I'm not. But I'm the friend that would ignore you. And that's what she needs. She wants to be able to be in my house and cry, and I'll just pass.
and I'm drinking and I'm watching my YouTube video, that I give her that space.
That space, what she needs.
Meanwhile, that her other friend might be like all up in her business, like, that guy is trash. You know, and talking and reminding her
of that situation.
So
she just wants to air it out.
Most of the time, you need to be able to like understand people, one, and you know, give them that space. Then now, knowing the signs of depression, being educated on depression is another thing, because you need to be able to see these signs without people actually telling you. Not everybody would, you know, want to talk about it. Most people, like you said, will put up a front and a facade, and you can't really tell. But with little things, you can. Like, if you really actually look, you can tell when someone is anxious. Like, I always look, you can tell when someone is anxious. You can tell when they're shy. You can tell when they're sad or they're hiding something. And I try to like really look at people. The only problem that I have is like actually coming to tell you, oh, I noticed this thing you're doing. And I know that something's wrong with you. But I see it. So like, get the knowledge, so if you are outspoken and you're bold enough, you can actually be like, hey, what's up, like, you good? Like, you know, you can just bring them out of that shell in your own corny way and everything. So being emotionally intelligent, being educated on depression, the signs, so you can actually see through people.
That's very cool. That's what I picked from Tessie. You know, when she said, the first question you should ask is, what does the person want? You understand? It's just like you knowing that person just wants to cry, that person just wants that space. You understand? So it all boils down to you being everybody. You understand? Even you who might be going through depression, you understand? Everybody needs to know what's up. You understand? Try to talk at least. Just try to talk, because you need to look for that one person. It's not easy. It's not easy. So it's more like everybody needs to be aware that, okay, if you're feeling some type of way, the only way that this can happen is if you talk. And you now that is not going through, everybody has to be observant. You understand? At the same time, we all have to be observant, because you don't know who's going through depression, who's not going through a lot. So that question is very important. You know, asking what do you want? When someone comes and says, yo, this is what's up, or what do you want? And you too that's feeling that way, you have to try, because not everybody, it's just like you said, some people, or she said,
if you don't even know what you want, ask for options.
Exactly. Because people wear masks, right? You know, you could just be okay. And the next person will not really know. You understand? So we should be observant, and at the same time too, we should try to be vulnerable. Try to talk. Everybody should try.
It's a conscious effort. Everybody needs to be intentional about it.
Everybody has to be able to observe. Everybody has to be able to talk. You understand? Because that's the balance. You understand? If everybody's observing and everybody knows that, okay, if I'm feeling this way, I have to talk, and the next person knows that, okay, if this person is talking, then I have to know.
Listen. I have to listen.
You understand? Then you have a working system.
Perfect divide. Exactly, my dog.
There will be a balance. You understand? So basically, depression is so real as malaria and typhoid.
One thing I wanted to say though was we've been here hammering on the right person. I don't think that there's any wrong person, because the person that you think that is the wrong person will probably be the person that will create awareness for you. Let me give you an example. You reach out to somebody who is quote unquote the wrong person, and then you tell them that this is how you're feeling. And they could take a screenshot of your conversation with them and try to make clues out of it. But then the right people will see it and pick up that line where you dropped a hint that something is wrong, and try to reach out to you immediately. So the so-called wrong person has actually drawn attention to you. Drawn the right people to you. I think at the end of the day, it's just empathy. People should learn to be empathetic.
It boils down to emotional intelligence.
Yes, true. Just kindness, just a bit of kindness. It doesn't. You don't even have to be so much. You don't have to do so much. Even the worst person on earth shows a bit of kindness on some days, and he doesn't even realize
it makes a huge difference.
So it's just a little bit of kindness. I could see you, I don't know you from Adam, and then you say something, and I'll say something else that would make you laugh. I have done my bit of kindness, and we may not see it as that. We might just see it as me being humorous, but I have done my bit for you, and I've gone. Maybe in that moment, whatever thought you had in your head at that point will just evaporate because something has taken its place, and you could actually think about that one thing I said and laugh over and over and over. It has covered, it has created a good bridge between that thought you were having and
and for me, one last thing for me is do not forget God.
True.
Because that is yes, if you go to God, he's the
yes.
Thank you, man. Thank you very much. That helped me. It helped me. I remember when we were talking behind the scene, and then I said I was not trying to be religious, but I listened to a pastor, I listened to a preacher, that talked about that thing, that talked about you going to the Bible or just, for yourself. I don't want to do that. It's not like I want
you may be, somebody may go look.
I think that viewers,
the person I'm talking about is David Ibiome.
Okay.
I listen to his teachings a lot. I listen to his teachings a lot. You understand? And other pastors that he refers to. But I like him. I like his mentality. I like his way of thinking.
And I like that. Every single person will probably be watching this. So let it not seem like we're just hitting just on religion. Here's what we're just going to say. Connect to the higher power that you believe.
Exactly, that you believe in.
Whatever thing you think is your higher power, connect to it. That's a good place to start. Really.
Cheers, man.
True. Connect to, I mean,
the higher power that you believe in.
I've actually met people who somehow, for some reason, don't want to believe in any higher power. So for those people, I'm not saying that them get that.
Philosophies, even
they believe in nature.
They believe in the universe.
Exactly.
The universe could be.
It might not necessarily be God or Allah or one
supernatural
being.
Just connect to
whatever you believe in. If it's technology, find it. Take it.
This is an amazing conversation. Cheers. Cheers, guys. Bring up your cups. Come on.
I mean, so guys, this is basically where we draw the curtains at the end of this show. It's been an awesome time with everybody on set. And of course, offset as well. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been an awesome conversation. We've learned so much from both sides, right? Side of the person experiencing it and the side of the person who's listening. So if you guys watch this to this point, hell, I'm sure you must have learned so much. If you are someone who has experienced depression and you've probably gotten out of it, or if you're someone who is experiencing depression now, or you're someone who's going to experience depression, right? Know that there's a whole lot of content in this episode from people who have various divergent ideas. So there's something for everybody here. If you're a listener, listening to someone who's depressed, or you're
you always go someone who's depressed. I don't get it.
I don't know why you were there. You better watch your hand, bro. Like, watch your hand.
I guess I have to draw the curtain to you guys and say a big thank you to everyone on here, everyone offset, people listening, people viewing. Please do not forget to follow us up on Instagram and all social media platforms. We are Adure Radio, Adure Media. My host is Frank_Words. Daibani, what's the social media handle?
Daibani, DAIGBAIN, no underscore, no nothing. Just Daibani. The industry baby wants to see it,
You know. What's your social media handle? How can people reach out to you?
My Instagram handle is Pretty Tess. Please, in place of arrow inside the pretty, there's W. I don't know how I came up with that. Pretty Tess.
It's like very swag.
Okay, want to go into these things? Right, guys. So, and of course, we have Osas. Ladies and gentlemen, this is like first time I'm having Osas on here, and this is obviously going to be, one of many. Yeah. So, Osas, what's your handle?
Okay, my handle on Instagram is VJ_OSAS_NG. That's what I go by on Instagram.
VJ Osas. Word. Follow, go follow. Oh, and then there's this man. I don't even know if I need to ask him to put his hand up. Your papa no. That's Mr. Barango, bro. What's your handle, dog?
Follow me on Instagram. It's Mr_Barango. Alright? I love you. Thank you.
I'm saving.
Last but not least.
Should I say it for you?
Please.
Please follow her Black Cabin. So unique. I don't think anybody on the internet has that name.
Then we will tell them to stop at online. Let's tell them to follow her online. Please stop there. It's been a great time, guys. I hope we see each other next episode of The Box and every other place. Have a great weekend or have a great week. Ciao.
Ciao.